Welcome, everybody.
How we doing?
We're doing
We're doing.
another Wednesday night.
Yep, last one of the year.
Last one.
Crazy.
Yep. There's our good Floridian jumping on board already. Joe Stinger, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yep. Welcome, everybody. We're This Fan's View. And I guess it's officially our last show of the of 2023. I don't know of anything else. Do we, Lauren?
No, this would be it.
All right.
I guess
So
we're
we're
not
all,
doing no New Year's one as the ball's dropping it. Popping on.
Yeah. Yeah. I might do that from my pillow.
Right. Uh-huh.
So we haven't been home for a while, so it's good to be home, especially on a night like this where it's raining cats and dogs in these parts.
Oh yeah.
So no pun intended, Lauren. Sorry. It's all good. It's all good. Johnny, you want to bring everybody up to speed on fantasy football?
All right. Yeah, we got to catch up on the last 3 weeks with fantasy football. Week 14, we had a little bit of a struggle. Our Eagles let us down and Carl's team down. So he ended up losing to the viewers 193 to 174. The high scorer was Harry Cosgrove with a score of 255. So that was a good score for him that week.
That's our school teacher buddy.
Yes.
He teaches with Christine Mattis.
Yes, he's science, right?
Yeah, science and
he builds stuff, right? Like with the
he's into a lot of stuff. He multi teaches over there.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if they still have like woodworking and all that stuff. I think it's all advanced now in the lab.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he was doing like rockets, wasn't he? Like shooting off rockets. I remember the one time.
I don't know what he's doing now.
Right. So that tied up the season record at 7-7. Last week, Lauren and Anthony put a butt kicking on the viewers with the score of 266 to 193. So that bumped our season record for us to 8-7. And Kyle O'Brien, he was the high scorer with a 207 score. And then this past week was a nail biter. I thought I was going to lose it there at the end. The Kansas City Chiefs aren't doing so well for fantasy football purposes. But I was able to sneak out a win with 195 to 194 to put our season record to 9-7, which we officially get a tie. So we can't lose this year, which is a good thing. And Brett Downey was the high scorer with a score of 238. So Carl and Lauren and Anthony, you guys have an easy ride. You don't even have to win this week. I'm not even going to worry about you guys winning. Just can't lose by 157 points, and we win the tiebreaker.
No pressure. No pressure.
No pressure. So,
Wow.
Who's up this week? Is it me?
It's you this week. Yep. So, it's been fun. We've been having 63, 64 people, staying in there steady. So, it's been good. And, it's going to be fun. We're going to be finding out with the last 2 weeks of the season and then heading into the playoff version of it.
Is it that close for the players?
For the overall scores for right at the moment, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Well, that I haven't had a chance yet to do all my crunching of the numbers for the season record for overall, but
okay.
I need to work on that. I got the numbers all done. I got to throw them down on a piece of paper and add them all up. So it takes a little while to do the 16 weeks. So it's good with the playoff version that we can. I'll have a little bit of time to add up some numbers.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a pretty good battle. We got Carolyn won it twice. Brett Downey won it twice now as the high scorer, and it goes up and down. It's pretty competitive. Carolyn and her husband Randy, they're battling back and forth, and Henry and Emily. I don't even know if you can call it a battle anymore because Henry keeps winning. So
Oops.
it's
shame none of them are on the show. We could have some fun.
but yeah, it's. I think that's why Emily and Henry may not be on the show much anymore because Henry might not be around too much to be able to watch with her competitive spirit there. So it's always good though. So
all right,
yeah. So a couple more weeks, it's winding down. I can't believe the season's already almost over. And it's crazy. We just feels like the other day we just started this thing, but.
The season flew by. The year has flown by.
Right.
It just seems like everything's going like 110 mile an hour. Everything's just crazy.
Oh yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
You guys feel the same way?
Yeah, it's quick. I mean, it's gonna be January 1st, and you're starting up, and you're talking baseball, spring training, all that stuff. It's just very quick.
Yep.
Feels very quick.
Yeah, I'm sure it was probably even a faster off season for you, Anthony, with the construction going on out there. Seeing the progress out there, and
yeah, it's been absolutely crazy. Just how quick everything's getting done. Like we're not in this week for the most part, but the last week when I was there, they were pouring concrete, getting video board stuff ready. I mean, they only have 60 to 90 days at the most to make sure everything's good to go out there.
Right.
So it's just been every day other than Christmas since last year, they've been working. So, I mean, it's a gigantic project. So obviously it takes a lot of time, but it's just, it'll be nice when it's actually over with. Cause right now it's just like a construction zone for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's going to be worth it in the end.
Yeah. It should be nice. It'd be a nice, nice feature compared to most ballparks when it's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then what renovations do they have planned for inside where like the clubhouses were originally? What's that?
So the away clubhouse will be a clubhouse for Reading High because Reading High, Reading High is going to play all their games at the stadium now. Their stadium, about a block or two away from our stadium, is, I don't know, probably built in the early 1900s. It needed probably $30 million per renovations or so. So they're going to play all their games at our stadium and use the visiting clubhouse as theirs. The home clubhouse, right now we're using that for the event center staff, and we may do some other renovations over there for like at some point maybe like expansion with this team store and stuff like that. But once we get that stuff figured out in the outfield, we have a little more time to figure out what we're going to do with the first base side. I mean, for this year, at the minimum, they could use it for, restroom facilities if the guys, so they don't have to walk all the way out past there. But I don't know what the long term. I don't know if we know totally what the long term plan is for that side.
Right. Nice.
Those guys are going to be spoiled.
I mean, it's just walking through without even seeing anything up, without seeing walls up, just seeing the amount of space that they have. I mean, they have their own private chef that the Phillies are providing. They have not that they weren't getting catered meals before, but now they have a chef for it and a kitchen for it. They have a weight room that's 4 times the size that it used to be. They have double batting tunnels. They'll have new bullpens. I mean, and this is great for us if we ever have a rehab. I know the concern is always the tightness of our concourse and stuff like that. Now that player, Bryce Harper, whoever can drive in, go in one way, go out that same way. And so that should help us going forward, but it'll be nice when it's said and done. I think by end of February, early March, we should have a better idea what it looks like. Right now, they're still putting up the wall, so it's hard to kind of envision what it's going to be.
Have the Phillies been out to check on things, or?
I don't know if they've actually been out. They might have. I know our owner was out. There might have been some Phillies guys out. I don't know. There's people there every day, so they could have been out. I know they plan on bringing a big contingent as we get a little bit closer, so probably after the new year. But they're part of every single meeting weekly, as far as at least having someone on a video conference call. So
Sure.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. It'll be the nicest AA park in the country once it's all said and
Very
done.
nice. Very good.
Yeah.
Nice.
The only thing that we'll have to do next is put like a tunnel underneath the stadium for the guys to go from the clubhouse right to the other clubhouse, the building.
And it's going to be massive. I mean, if we were just doing the renovation, the story not, but we're also putting a $2 million video board, which is kind of going under the radar just because of all the other stuff going on. Most off seasons, that would be the story itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff going on. This Reading High and working with the Reading School District to implement a plan to be in all the schools to keep baseball alive in the city, because some of those numbers were down. And if those numbers are down, then eventually there's not a high school baseball team. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we're taking on a lot to do that ourselves, and that's a whole separate plan from the RFIL. So it's a lot every day, but it's going to be all worth it when it's said and done.
It's got to be also an incentive for the players, in high school to be able to go play at Reading.
I mean they went. I mean the Reading High is the biggest high school in the state, because then when you're in a big city, there's usually multiple schools.
Right.
So Reading has one high school. It's gigantic. And so for those guys, they went from the worst stadium in the state for a team of their size to the best. Mm. And the good part about it, too, is, it's not just about the high school kids playing baseball. The art and, visual kids are going to come and do murals in the locker room. The kids that are interested in video production or anything like that will be up in the press box. And they're going to sort of run they're going to have their own promotional team that are going to run contests. So it's going to be like, 10, 15, 20, how many ever games they have, mini version of what we do, so that hopefully when they're done, they would go, to school for something like this and then can come back and actually work at the stadium and things like that. So it's not just about baseball. It's a lot of stuff that's going on. We don't have a lot of media here in Reading. The Reading Eagle's not what it used to be, and we only have about half-hour news a night. So it's just constantly trying to get the word out about it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, that's awesome. What was the I know in football you've had Chad Henne and who was Lenny Moore.
Chad Henne, Lenny Moore. Who else did we do for the hometown hero? I'm trying to remember. Lonnie Walker, we did one year for the
Walker in basketball. Has there been a big name baseball player that's come out of Reading that you know of?
Not. I'm trying to think offhand. I'm gonna probably miss somebody.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, I feel like a lot of those guys have been some older guys. Rocky Colavito types back in the day. There are some younger kids, but there hasn't been a big name as far as baseball. There are some. I think there's a kid that's playing maybe with the Tigers, maybe one for the Marlins or something like that, but not like a big name. But the town that Lauren and I are in. That's Chad Henne came from here, and then 10 years before that, Kerry Collins came from here as well. So a lot of guys locally, but yeah, I don't know.
And Singleton is now with Penn State, right? The running back?
Yeah, that's true. Singleton's with Penn State. He's from 5 minutes away in Governor Mifflin School District. Chad Billingsley isn't from here, but his wife's from here, so he lives in the Conrad Weiser School District, which is about 10 minutes away, one district over.
Isn't there a current guy on a team right now?
Yeah, I just can't remember name offhand.
Football, I meant.
Cesar brings up Carl Furilla.
They have a lot of football. Alex Anzalone, who's on the Lions on defense. He's from Wyomissing. A lot of football players from around here. There are baseball. They're just not as big names as the football guys.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we'll have to keep our eyes out for the next superstar in baseball coming out of Reading.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Shockingly, a lot of kids are playing sports other than baseball, so we got to get them involved in baseball.
Yeah, but helping like you're doing, that's going to attract a lot of kids to play baseball to be able to do.
Yeah, it's not the cheapest sport to play, but it's not also the most expensive. But,
right.
if it's if all your friends are playing basketball and you can grab one ball and shoot around,
Mm-hmm.
a lot easier than having to worry about gloves and bats and these crazy rules and all that. So the first part is getting into elementary schools and teaching the kids the rules because they're excited when they get to play. They just don't know how to play.
Yeah.
And then it's just from there every year getting better.
Sure.
So they can get
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
staying along the lines of baseball and spring training, we're about 50 days away from pitchers and catchers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I know we've got, the Philly Pirates rivalry. When do we talk about that's in July? That weekend in July? I guess it's pretty much the same every year, right?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think this year it's like right in the middle of July.
I feel like it's around either early to mid-July most years.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's always right around the 4th of July. I always thought like around that weekend.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know when it is this year because I don't think it's that week because we have actually a game on the 4th of July, and I know we don't have a game this year for that for the first time in about 4 or 5 years. So
You Pirates don't?
We play on the 4th of July, which I've only in my 15 years, I think we've only done that one other time.
You as in Reading or you as in Pittsburgh?
No, Reading. Reading plays on the 4th of July this year to start a homestand.
Gotcha.
It might only be the 4th, 5th, or 6th or something, and maybe they're away and it's that next weekend. But I know we play the 4th, which obviously there'll be huge crowds for that, which is good. But we're just we play up until it's usually a 7 or 8 game homestand had been up until the 4th.
Sure. Yep.
Or the 3rd, and then the 3rd was the last day. But
yeah. Who is the Reading Rifle? Caesar's throwing that out there. The Reading Rifle. Who is that?
Carl Farrell, the player that he had mentioned there.
Oh, okay. That was his nickname?
Yep. There's a lot of guys from Reading, older guys, if you walk through that concourse, especially on that third base side, guys that might not necessarily be on the Reading Phillies.
I played there.
What's that?
They played in the stadium at some point.
They either played in the stadium or they're from Reading in general. Like Carl Farrell was on the Dodgers. But a lot of those guys made their home here. And then I'm trying to think who else. There was like guys like Roger Maris played here with the Reading Indians and Calvito, and there's a ton of them. And then Charlie Wagner, who was with the Red Sox for years, was from Reading. So in his later years, our press box named after him, and he used to come to the games every day. So there's a lot of people that ended up staying here. They played here just with the Reading Phils, but they might have met their wife and moved elsewhere. There's a lot of stories like that.
Sure.
When teams have been around that long, there's a lot of stories. So.
Good stuff.
Doug Clemens was from that area as well. Played with the Phils.
Yep.
So there was a lot.
The Pittsburgh Phils weekend is July 19th to the 21st this year.
Okay.
Over the weekend. Nice.
I say we have a This Fan's View excursion.
We can make that work.
That'd be fun.
It's funny. They always talk about doing that more, playing that more, and I feel like you get the once a year. Every year they talk about, it's so great. We should do it more. We should do it more like we used to do, and they do it once a year.
Well, and I feel like the Pirates only come to Philly. It's like April and then September. It's like 2 terrible months for baseball.
Yeah, they're usually there when they're so far out of it. It's not even fun. But
and it's like chilly.
Yeah,
It's like
the weather's not good for
and
it.
then it can be chilly in September too. So
I know they're not in the same division, so it makes it difficult. But they should figure out a way to have them play a few more times. It's good for business for both places.
It's good for the Phillies standings too.
So talking of Phillies, so far their big splash this offseason has been re-signing Aaron Nola. You think they're pretty much done? I mean, is that is there going to be any more signings, activity? I think
there'll be some smaller activity, but I don't think there's any. I mean, who's the big name that everyone's going to get excited for? I don't know that that's out there.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. You never know with Dombrowski. Possibly putting a trade together of some sort. I know at the end of the season, Rob Thompson was talking about Johan Rojas having to earn his spot back in center field. And I don't know if that was just a motivational speech for Johan. I just have a tough time believing that they're going to send him back to AA or AAA. John, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, his problem was he couldn't hit. I mean, defensively, he's probably the best, outfielder we got.
So you don't think a little spring training, where he plays every day in spring training, they teach him how to bunt, move the runners, that kind of thing, especially batting down in the 8th or 9th spot.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think that's part of it. Like you said, and just use that for motivation, because you're starting to see a lot of pictures and stuff of him working out, all getting bigger.
Yeah, he's looking thick.
Yeah, so he's hopefully taking. I think he's a guy that's going to work hard. It's just a matter of whether or not he can, survive hitting up here, because we know he can play defense. And I think they're going to make another move. I think it was a little bit slow, just because they were putting their toes out there for the Yamamoto, potential move if that was going to happen. I mean, it was a long shot. We knew with the Dodgers, especially once they got Ohtani, that that was going to be definitely tough to get them. But I mean, they were probably one of the top 5 teams, left in the race to get them. But so, putting out that kind of money, I think they had to, hopefully, be putting, wait, you got to put stuff on hold until you find out if that happens, because you're not going to make a move like Kevin's saying, trading Sanchez and Abel to get Framber Valdez.
Is that a legit rumor?
I had seen the same thing that Kevin was seeing. I don't know, how far or how close that actually is happening. But
why would the Astros want to give up pitching? They don't want to pay him, or
that's what I'm thinking would be the reason why.
Maybe they think they have enough, and if you get Abel, maybe you think he's ready anyway. I don't know.
Right. I mean, they have a couple, Hunter Brown, and they got a couple of young guys themselves where they might be thinking that they're going to have like a young, stud class, and maybe they think, they seem to have good things with analytics, with their spin rates and all that kind of stuff, that maybe Abel, they can fix a couple of things, and he's able to be better than what he's showing here in Philadelphia. I mean, I think, Joe, I think I would.
John?
I think I would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would, because you get Framber Valdez. I mean, he's a pretty good ball, piece. He's a lefty, which would be nice.
Where does he fit? Where does he fit in?
Oh, he'd be like a number two starter. He may be even a number 1 starter on this team.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's got that kind of stuff. I mean, he goes out there and he's got, no hitter potential, going out there. So,
yeah, for the Phillies, I don't know why you would do that. Why you wouldn't do that, other than maybe cost wise. But
well, yeah, that's probably the thing for the Phillies, possibly holding up. But I mean, if that's all you're giving up, I mean, Sanchez is a nice piece, but he's your 5 or 6, 5 swings man.
Well, you don't know what you have there.
Well, right, you don't. And then same thing with Abel. But that way you can have, Wheeler, Valdez, Nola, Ranger, Suarez, and throw out and Walker would be your 5 at that point, still, and that would be not a bad situation. Yeah, I mean, $14 million. I mean, let's face it, the Phillies, if they're going to want to win, way the Dodgers are spending, Anthony and I were talking about it the other day. It's you put yourself where money's not going to matter at this point if you want to win. And you got to go all in at this point. If
2 year, what is it? 2 years in a row now they've paid the luxury tax, and
yeah. Well, I mean, I just saw a thing where the Mets paid $101 million just in luxury tax fees, and they didn't even make the playoffs.
Well, if you look at it like this, the Phillies didn't really lose out on anyone. The guy from the Dodgers was definitely playing the Phillies and the Yankees and all those teams, so that the Dodgers would give him the most amount of money. He was playing with Ohtani no matter what. So that's just a scam there. But other than that, who went somewhere that you said, "Ah, man, I wish the Phillies would have got him"? I don't think there's been that many crazy moves that they either have been interested or been involved in all the talks for all these guys.
Well, how about the trade that Tampa made with the Dodgers to pick up the old
yeah, to get Glass now. I mean, that would have been a nice piece. Yes.
Yeah.
No, he gets hurt though a little bit. Glass now. So I mean, that's a little worrisome, I guess. But I mean, I would take him here for sure.
That's going under the radar because those other guys have gotten so much. But I mean,
exactly.
You got $135 million. You haven't heard a word about it.
Right. He's only making 135. Don't worry about it. He's, But like Kevin's point, for 14 million, if the Phillies were seriously involved with the Yamamoto, money, they were willing to spend $25-30 million on another starting pitcher. So that still leaves room there, for that 14 million that they would be able to go out there and do that. So,
the Dodgers they're good no matter what, because not only did they get those two players, but now anytime anything like that happens, especially when you're on the West Coast there, whether it's Seattle or Los Angeles, the amount of advertising money that they're going to get from Japan is going to be absurd, and people are going to watch those games, and
they're all going to travel here to see them.
Of course, you want to win the World Series, but if you don't, they're still going to be making so much money because of it. Yeah, people traveling to the stadium, they're in a good spot. Obviously, you got to go out and win, but that's just what the worry is going forward. Is Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Red Sox. Whoever's on either coast.
Yeah, that's where you call it stupid money. Is really falls into place right there.
How much money they're making. Even if you could figure out one of the other guys, even if you could figure out Ohtani, let's say the Blue Jays or the Phillies or whoever got him.
Yeah.
Then you really got to be careful with your other money because you only have so much to spend. It seems like the Dodgers have an infinite amount of money to spend because of their TV deal out in Los Angeles. It's just, it's absurd.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And plus, who would have thought though, Ohtani would have had a $70 million contract and only $2 million would be counting for the first 10 years.
That's another thing. It's a little ridiculous. I mean, the whole thing.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. To be able to have defer, basically 95% of your money for Ohtani over, 10 years from now. Who knows what the luxury tax will be at that point? And if the Dodgers win 2-3 World Series in between, these 10 years, they're not going to care. It's just, and like you said, the amount of money that they're going to make on advertising, they're going to bank that, and that $68 million in 10 years is nothing for them. It's crazy.
All right, let's jump sports, and we'll hand it off to Lauren for the 76ers, and let's talk some basketball.
Okay.
So you've been following them?
Yeah, I've been following them.
You were liking everything you're seeing with the new coach and running the new system, and you like the adjustments that Embiid has made, and it just seems like his attitude has changed, and he's a little bit more kind of up and down the court and not hanging his head as much.
I would say that this time last year we had a lot more to complain about than we do this year. So that I feel like is moving in the right direction. We'll see kind of how the season progresses and what goes on. But I think all things considered, yeah, I like what I'm seeing out there and how the team has responded, and everybody just seems to be involved. I mean, I think that's the one thing Anthony and I sort of begged for, was getting the bench involved, getting guys out there, better rotation. So that seems to be happening and seems to have paid off. But yeah, I don't, you would have liked to have won the other night. You can't win them all, but yeah, I think all in all, everything is looking.
I was pretty amped up. I mean, he sprained his ankle pretty early in that Minnesota game, and he played through the game. I think other years, he'd have went into the locker room and you probably wouldn't have seen him, at all.
Sure.
But he kept playing and they beat, at that time. I mean, Minnesota was the number one team in basketball. They beat a very good team that night, and
Yep.
he was putting up some really big numbers. Still is. I mean, the last couple games he's been out because of the sprained ankle. But I just think, all in all, he just appears to be, playing what the coach is drawing up, what the coach wants him to do, and the fact that it's a two-man game. It's him and Maxey, right? And they get other guys involved as well. But you got Embiid putting up 30, 40 a night. You got Maxey putting up 25, 30 a night. It's just been a hell of a two-man rotation.
And this is also the first time that neither one of them or the Sixers in general have had to deal with the environment or the toxicity of Ben Simmons and of James Harden. So it's really sort of the first time that they are kind of distraction free.
Yep. Good point.
So I just also think that that's allowing them to play a little bit better and to be a little bit more disciplined because they don't have all of that outside noise.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that's
100%.
huge. Yeah. Well, and plus, like you said, they're getting everybody involved. They got nine people deep at least. And half the time, the third quarter, Embiid's not even fourth quarter. Embiid's not even playing, and it's getting the Furcons and everybody else playing, so that it's putting up some time, and it used to be called garbage time, but I mean they're playing quality time in the fourth quarter. It's not like the last 2 minutes. I mean they're playing the whole quarter.
Yeah,
these guys, and
good to see, right?
Oh yeah, no, and like you said, because that hopefully will be well down the stretch later on in the season where those guys are playing and into the game thinking, hey, I'm part of this team and not just there.
Well, they're sitting, all things considered, they're sitting in third place behind Boston and Milwaukee. They're only 3 games out of first place. They got 20 wins and 9 losses. They just, it's hard to, I hear a lot of people talking about it, and I don't think a lot of credit's being given to Nick Nurse.
Yeah, he's a big influence. Yeah,
huge influence, John. I just see a whole different. I mean, when did you ever see a Sixer team up and down the court as fast and I mean, boom, 3 passes and they're already in the lane.
Oh yeah.
They just seem to, this system, his system, seems to fit a lot of these players. The kid, Oubre Kelly.
Kelly Oubre.
Yeah. Tobias Harris. I mean, he seems to be playing, with a lot more energy. And you've got guys that just have bought into this system and early too. It's not going to take, a half a season or 3/4 of the season before they finally buy in.
Oh yeah. No, it's night and day. It's how much the team's changed. And like Lauren said, I mean, having Simmons and forgetting the other.
Well, you factor in. We talked about it a lot. Trying to find somebody that can play with Embiid.
Right.
We talk Simmons, we talk Jimmy Butler, we talk James Harden.
Yeah.
I feel like we're missing another name.
But I feel like he's been here the whole time, and it's just been Tyrese Maxey.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
Everybody kept wanting another big piece, another thing. We just needed to be a little bit patient and let him develop. And I think he's really come into that role really well this year. And, Tobias Harris, I know everybody's got sort of a love-hate relationship with him, but he's holding his own. And
No, I think he has to this year because it's a.
Well, and this is what the end of his contract.
Yeah, he's got to get
this is it.
If he's going to get a big contract somewhere, you better score some points. So, but
I don't really think right now.
I won't even be
anything to complain about.
What's that, John?
I wouldn't even be surprised to see Tobias come back.
Oof.
He's going to be less. He's got to. The problem is they're going to want to give him less money, and he's going to want to. Maybe he might come back when he finds out that no one wants to give him that amount of money. But he might go. One of these teams might need him. He might be a star of one of these teams.
Yeah, he's not going to get. He's not going to get another $180 million deal. I can tell you that.
Well, he's a big piece that the team would be missing if he's not here. You would see, see.
Well, he's been solid. You know what I mean? He plays every night.
He's selfless for the team. Like he plays the defense. He does the ugly stuff. That. And then he gets his points when he can, but he's usually
on the opponent's big player.
Exactly. That's where he's a big piece that we'll be missing if you not have him. Shutting down Tatum and those guys when it comes to the playoff time and So he would be. I wouldn't be surprised to see him back, especially with this new coach with Nurse.
Well, let's take one season at a time.
Oh yeah, of course.
This Sixer team, you almost have to take it one game at a time for right now.
I think a lot of it is in their own heads. I mean, you could easily, if they keep playing the way that they've been playing, you could easily see them beating Milwaukee or Boston, which they've had trouble in the past. But it's just things haven't come together like that for them, in the other years. So something has to. You got to be consistent. You need Joel on all cylinders, Maxey on all cylinders. In order to beat those teams, you have to not have a day off. You got to play them as hard as you can for the whole series. And they could easily do that every year. It feels like there's a little bit better of a chance this year. I still don't feel like it's like Sixers time yet. I mean, maybe once football's over before, baseball starts, that's when you feel Sixers. I don't feel like it's Sixers crazy like it has been in years past. Maybe people are just tiptoeing a little bit until they see where they're really at.
Well, like in the past, they said it usually doesn't start till Christmas Day, and unfortunately this year, the NFL kind of stole it away from the NBA a little bit with their with the football games this weekend, but Monday. But and like you said, the season hasn't really started, completely yet for the guys and. I
would have liked to have seen that Miami game with Butler and Embiid in it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to judge.
That's the one you would have liked to have seen them win.
Yes, 100%.
They were just missing a lot of shots, really bad shots, and
probably Maxey had the worst game of the season. He wasn't himself, and I don't know. You're not going to be. You're not going to be there every single night. Even the best of the best have bad shooting nights. So, but he's been a bright spot. Boy, has he been a bright spot for where was he drafted? What was he like the 20th, 21st?
Yeah, 20th, 21st.
21st pick. John Calipari. Calling the Sixers and saying, you might want to take a look at this guy.
Yeah, I mean the Sixers were lucky because of COVID that year that they didn't have the tournament. They said they probably would have been. You wouldn't have been around. You would have been a top 5 pick if they would have played in the tournament.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but every time he takes a shot, no matter where it's at, I almost am shocked.
You feel like it's going in, right?
Right. I'm shocked that it doesn't go in. It's like. He's gotten to be that point where it's just like it's almost automatic when the ball's out of his hands, almost like a Steph Curry, type of thing where it's the ball's.
So when is he due for a money contract?
I think he could be due next year, which he'll get the money, because he's on the team. He's not a problem of leaving. Because they can go over the cap because they have him,
right?
I think it's next year that he gets his money. Could get his. So.
All right. Well, we'll keep our eyes and ears open to the Sixer watch, and hopefully good things continue, and they can get the W tonight. The game's getting ready to tip off just about right now. So
yeah, and the tough thing is losing to the Milwaukee or the Celtics, although it stinks. I mean, those are two of the top teams in basketball as well. So it's like you got a 3-headed monster going there for the East, coming out of the East. And
it's funny. One last comment on my end. It's almost like Boston prepares the team, to be able to beat the Sixers. And I feel the same thing about Milwaukee, that they worry more about the Sixers than they do the West Coast teams.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because like you said, they have to battle with Embiid.
Yep.
You got to figure out a way to be able to stop him, and now Maxey as well. And plus now you got 4 or 5 other guys on the team that you got to worry about as well. So
sure, you got shooters,
right?
And like Anthony and Lauren talk about all the time. You got to use the bench guys. You got to use your bench players. They got to get minutes. So yeah. So let's move on. It's probably the best part of the show. We're going to talk Flyers.
There you go.
Ah, man.
They're what? Hot. What do you mean?
Just one time I would like to get, like
a hell yeah.
Let's go. They're in Vancouver tonight, so it's a late one. But they're playing good hockey. They really are. We talk about the Sixers buying into their head coach. I think this young squad has bought into, Torts and his system, and they just seem so much faster and just willing to just put their bodies out there. And this young goalie is giving Carter Hart a run for the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
So the game's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. Yes. My bad. Tomorrow night in Vancouver. I get all excited. Sixers, Flyers, So,
Vancouver's good.
Yeah, they are. Those you never know what you're going to get from Vancouver and Seattle Kraken, and but it'll be a good test. Nice road trip. Get out on the road. But I'm excited for them. Does anybody care what I got for Christmas?
Yeah, sure. Let us know. What do you got?
You guys just, I got this.
I said, yeah. I said,
well, I know what it was.
Yeah.
I was there.
You were there. So I got probably the hottest ticket in town. I got front row seats to the Flyers in February. So front row, banging on the glass. If you see some old man getting escorted out, it's me. So, yeah. Yep. So I believe it's February 10th against the
Kraken.
Las Vegas. Is it Seattle? Seattle Kraken, yes. Yeah, I had them on my brain. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about it. Yeah.
These West Coast trips are tough, though, because watching the late night games.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I might see 5 minutes of the first period. And that's with one eye open. Yeah, for sure.
So what's everyone just holding on their Carter Hart stuff for now, hoping for the best that they bought it, or what's going on there? What's going to end up happening, you think, with the goalies?
It's I don't know. I hope personally, I hope they get a haul for them. If they do trade them, I mean, those types of goalies don't come around all that often.
So what's the issue then? Why wouldn't you keep them then? I don't understand.
Well, like Jack said, Hart's the starter, but they're really taking a long look at this Sam Ersson guy, and he's playing some valuable minutes, and every time Hart's out of the lineup, whether it's an illness or an injury, he seems to play pretty well. So
the question comes down to you're in a rebuild. So what's the one piece that's going to get you the most back? It would be Carter Hart, and Urson's playing well. You have hopefully the Russian that we're hoping it keeps coming. We keep hearing that he may come
one
back.
of these years,
right?
one of these years.
You got the Russian goalie that may be coming over. It's like Carl said, you got to get a big haul though. A top scorer back for him. You got to get a good solid defenseman probably as well. And if you get a couple pieces like that for him, and you hope that he's never coming over. Jack says the Russian. So
I'll let you in on a little secret. I think Jack might have a little more invested in Carter Hart than I do.
and it would hurt us, like you said. I mean, he's a great goalie, right? I mean, we know that. We'd like to see him here. I mean, you're not just giving him away for me, to play on the. You got to be getting a big piece back in return if you're in a true rebuild. Where you're thinking 3-4 years, 2-3 years.
It's going to be interesting to see, how this team responds, as the trade deadline gets close. Are they buyers? Are they sellers? If they're playing good hockey, do they pick up a veteran piece to, I mean, they have no captain. There's
right.
no captain on this team. They've just made a huge jump from last year, getting Couturier back, getting Cam Atkinson back. They cleaned out some bad garbage in the locker room. They've done some good things.
Yeah.
Danny Briere is, in his first year as GM has done a hell of a job.
Yes. And he keeps saying that, they're not going to be going out and buying right now. They're still it's still a rebuild, and this big start that they got going on, it's not going to, expedite the time frame. So, again,
well, let me ask you the same question that Joe Stingers is asking. I mean, if the Devils, decline, if the Rangers decline, you already see Pittsburgh declining, and here we are, in what we call a rebuild. And things continue to go well, do you not expedite that process a little bit? I'm not talking about trading Travis Konechny or a big scoring piece, but I mean, what's not to add a little bit to it?
I could see them doing that. Yes, I mean, because like you said, they're there. I mean, just look at the Eagles 2 years ago. They snuck into the playoffs and it was good for them the following year. They ended up going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's always good to keep a good team going. Just because you're having a good year this year doesn't mean you're going to be in that same situation next year. So I don't know that they go crazy, but yeah, like you said, if they could add a piece here or there, that's not gonna.
Well, they got a lot of young players, and again, to steal a page out of Jack's book, a lot of these players all play the same type of game, and they all need the puck. You know what I mean? And the Morgan Frosts of the world, they need to put the puck in the net. They need to score more. And as long as that happens, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So, I know Jack's talking about Cutter Gauthier. Where is he right now? Is he playing where is he? Is he in the tournament, the junior tournament, or is he still in college?
I thought he was still in college.
Yeah, that's where I thought he was. I lose track of these guys. But he's, he could be a superstar. He could be a superstar in this league. So, but the NFL's the big show, right?
He's in the juniors, Jack said.
Juniors. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. But it's good to have, all of our teams playing so well, and we're not dogging them on our Wednesday night show like we've been known to do.
Well, we haven't gotten to the 14 yet. I can see you keep stalling and trying to get it, so there's only 3 minutes.
I was saving the best for last, damn it.
No, but it's great to see the Flyers, being able, to rebuild it, turn it around this quickly. I mean, who's to say that they can't do it in 2 years? Completely turn it around.
Well, I mean, I gotta think that comment might go through Danny Briere's head, every night that he watches his team.
Yeah.
And a 4 or 5 year rebuild, might automatically become 2.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. 2, 3, is what they're, may have, up to 2.
Well, they're fun to watch again, right?
All right. Oh yeah.
They're fun to watch. They're not getting blown out. It's not 4-0 in the first period.
Yeah.
And it's good hockey.
It's like the Sixers. They're up and down. They're moving the puck around. It's nice.
I think that's the biggest difference. You would turn it on last year, the year before. We're 10 minutes late and they're down 3-0. You're like, I'm going to watch something else.
And if it happens this year, they've come back. I mean, they were just down to the Red Wings. 5-0? I think it was. In the second period, and they tied it up, and I mean they ended up losing it.
That was incredible to see them fight back from that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Take the lead. They ended up getting a point that night. That's a tough nut when you're talking about being down 5-0 like that.
On the road.
The road, right?
I mean, against a team that isn't bad. So yeah, it's that was impressive to see. That was something where it would have been like an 8-0 game last year. Ended up being. So yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think didn't Carter Hart start that game and coach stuck with them
the rest of the night? Yeah.
You would have never saw that last year.
No, exactly. That's true.
He'd have been gone, and God only knows. Yeah. But no, it's fun. It's fun to I forget who said it. I want to say Chris Terrian said it last week at our show at Buffalo Wild Wings that game against, help me out, it was the last home game. He said it was the loudest the building had been in years.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what.
It was Chris Terrian, yeah.
But I remember Chris talking about.
Was it the Devils?
Game. It was the Devils.
Yeah.
It was Pittsburgh because it was the home and home. It was the home and home against Pittsburgh, and obviously the home game for the Wells Fargo Center. He had mentioned that was the loudest he had heard that building in years.
Right.
Since he was beating the crap out of Jaromir Jagr. I'm not sure whether he liked that comment or he didn't like it. I'm not sure. Not sure which.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. I'll let you 3 fight over the Eagles segment because a familiar foe is coming back to town on Sunday.
Jonathan Gannon. He is.
What do you think, Johnny? What's your honest gut opinion on this game?
I'm a little nervous about it, to be honest, and I don't know why. I mean, the Cardinals aren't as good of a team as the Eagles,
but aren't they one of those teams that could go off, at any time?
Well, that's the thing, and I guess we'll see how much Jonathan Gannon and Steichen, they kind of came out and said, it was they went to Sirianni and said, we got to make a change. And supposedly Gannon said we had to make a change and put Steichen in there as the offensive coordinator when he was, demoted. Are they actually the reason why we were good? And I don't know. We'll find out a little bit, because I know Gannon, probably wants to stick it up our butts because of.
Oh yeah, what is his team? 3-12.
Yeah, 3-12. This is
his Super Bowl.
Right. you know, and you know, I mean, earlier in the year they beat the Cowboys. You know, it was they put up a good game and beat the Cowboys. Kyler Murray's back, so you're gonna have to worry about him, you know, running around a little bit. So yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy. You know, I mean, we let the Giants hang around, you know, this past Sunday, you know, or Monday afternoon, when in all reality we were up 20-3 at halftime, and you know, you should have, you know, kind of coasted the rest of the way home.
As a fan, you want to see them demolish the next two games so you feel confident going forward, because if you win by 5 points the one game and you win by 3 points the next game, you don't feel that great going into the playoffs. By the way, that's not like unheard of. It's pretty much what they've been doing all year long, but you would like to see them win by some big numbers so you can maybe, even though, you know, I'm not saying they don't mean anything, the games do mean something, but going into the playoffs, you want them to be confident. And I don't think that they feel that confident right this minute, even though that they beat the Giants. I don't feel like they're, in general, I don't feel like they're in sync. I feel like the guys aren't. They got to be on the same page, and 2 big wins would do that for them.
Yeah.
I forgot. Tony brought up a good point there that the Cardinals had beat Dallas that time we were in Clearwater, Dad, for the Tampa Eagles game, and that was on TV, and that's who they lost to. But kind of like what you were saying, where the Cardinals are a team where they could just kind of like go off on a team. I equally feel like the Eagles are also a team that allows a team to go off on them, and they have no answer whatsoever for it. I think the thing that we've heard all season, and the thing that sort of bothers me the most, is a win is a win. We say that time and time again, and I feel like that makes us feel better. Like, well, at least they won.
Right.
But a win is a win isn't going to win you the Super Bowl, because you can't squeak out win after win and then get to the playoffs and take on like the true actual teams who also deserve to be there and hope to squeak by. Squeaking by isn't gonna cut it when it comes to the playoffs. So that sort of frustrates me. Is yes, you want to win the games, and yes, we won, which is great, but they're not clicking on all cylinders. They look awful. They look absolutely awful. And yeah, they won against the Giants, but not as much as they should have. And the 3 games before that were horrific. I mean, that team doesn't look like they could even win round 1, let alone win the Super Bowl.
They're just not crisp. There's too many mistakes. So even if they're not winning by a huge amount, you want to make sure that Jalen Hurts, and I don't know if it's the line. I feel like I see
something's going on. Something is going on with Jalen Hurts. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's on the field and he's injured, or if there is something off the field that's going on that's weird.
Is the line not holding for him very well? I feel like he's always on the run. He's always running to his right. He's throwing to a guy. It's out of bounds. That's the first. And then he does it 2 times out of the 4 times. And then or he throws a great pass and then AJ Brown misses it. There's just too many inconsistencies that you need to get figured out mighty quick if you're going to go and beat those teams in the playoffs.
Well, my 2 cents from the game on Christmas Day, I think the Giants scored 2 touchdowns, on 2 turnovers. And, it's part of the game. I get it. But Dallas Goedert slipped on the one, allowing, the DB to, make the pick and score a touchdown. And I forget the other one. But there were 2.
It was the punt return or the kickoff to start the half.
Yeah.
When ran into Boston Scott.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And that game could have very easily been very lopsided. But like you said, Lauren, they allow these other teams, to capitalize on our mistakes.
Boston Scott colliding with that guy on the punt return, I feel like is the Eagles season in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good
I mean,
point.
I'm shocked that I haven't seen more memes and more jokes about it. I mean, that was absolutely embarrassing.
Yeah.
It just, something is off. The fact that two guys on the same team are colliding with each other, causing a fumble, and then the other team scores a touchdown. I mean, something is wrong. Something is wrong in that locker room. And I asked a guy a couple weeks ago about that. Do you think something's wrong with the team? No. Just a bad game. I think it was when they had lost maybe 1 or 2 games in a row. No, they're just, a little off right now. But I think it's a lot more than a little off right now. And you're never going to find out. Right. Because Jalen Hurts has the best poker face in the world. So you are never going to find out what's wrong or what the big deal actually is in that locker room. But you can't tell me there isn't something going on.
You will if this season takes a big ass turn and they get bumped in the first round of the playoffs because a coach's job is going to be on the line. And it's not going to be a coordinator or it's not going to be the special teams coach. I can tell you right now, Jeffrey Lurie is not going to put up with that nonsense.
Well, they can get rid of the coach. Are talking about all these play calls. Well, yeah, okay, I get that, but he's not the one throwing the ball. He's not throwing interceptions. He's not the guy on the run. He's not doing all that stuff. They'll use someone like that as an excuse. But
just as well as I do, the coaches are held up here. You know what I mean? The head coaches assume all the responsibility, whether they're throwing the football or not, or getting, the players getting blocked into each other or an interception or just bad football.
I mean, I don't know how much you guys entertain sports talk radio in Philly, but when they lost that 3rd game in a row, there were comments about how he had Carson Wentz-like ways. And if that's really where we're at, I think that was a little quick to sort of judge that that's kind of the road we were headed down. But I also at the same time sort of get it because he fell from greatness in the matter of a couple of weeks. And I think Eagles fans were a little bit scared that that's what was happening. And I wouldn't say that Monday's performance has told me that that's not what's happening. I think it's a little early to jump to that, but it is alarming. And that's why I just feel like something is going on there. And if he's hurt and that's why he can't run as much, so be it. But there is just something is off with that team right now.
I also don't know that maybe I'm in the minority. I don't feel like that line's holding for him. I feel like people are coming at him hard because they either know he has an injury. I feel like he's got to move to the left and the right quite often. He's not going forward, and I don't know that line's holding for him. Now, by the way, I've been saying, maybe it's because they're tired. I've been saying that since week 4 when they barely won and we were at Buffalo Wild Wings. They look exactly the same. They just happen to win those games earlier and not win these games now.
I think a lot of it's coaching, and I think you're going to see Sirianni, like you said, Carl. He's going to be on the hot seat. With his antics, he doesn't act like a professional head coach. He's out there, yelling at the fans, in Kansas City, and he just does things that are unprofessional, in a way, and it almost seems like this locker room's lost him. He's lost them. In my opinion, just from the comments that you hear, that they're not even close. Like you hear Devontae Smith, you won 11 games, and we're not even close to where we're at. And Jalen Hurts, the same thing. I'd like to say we were close, but we're not. And AJ Brown not even commenting because he's so frustrated because he's not wanting to say something stupid and.
That's a whole story in itself, isn't it? Because he refused to talk again today.
Right. And you see guys, Devontae Smith getting into it with Sirianni on the sidelines and AJ Brown giving him a death stare, from behind.
Well, John, help me out here. And I don't mean to cut you short, but how do you get 11 wins if that's the case?
This team has a lot of talent, and I think what was happening you had 10 of them early in the season, right? So you had the 10. You went 10-1 to start the season, and I think you have a lot of veteran guys on this team, right? So you had that 3-game losing streak, and those veterans need to have, hey, this is what we need to do. This is where we screwed up. I didn't call good plays. You guys, he's not giving them the answers to get better against these good teams. And I think that's where he's lost it.
Every single one of those 10 wins was a win is a win.
Well, exactly. Well, that and it was also ugly
from one of those games blowing guys out the way that we got blown out against the 49ers.
Or and the Cowboys.
Every single one we squeaked by.
Right.
And that's why I said early on, that's not going to work in the playoffs.
No,
so you can be 10-1 all you want, but if those 10 wins are like on a Hail Mary pass and a hope and a dream, that's not winning you a championship.
I mean, we lucked out and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and you can see now that they're not really what they were, had been.
Yeah, I mean, Dad, when you say, how are they 11-4 or whatever they are now, my gut almost is like luck. They just got lucky.
Well,
literally, they just got lucky.
Well, I think that it was luck. It was. I don't know if it was so much luck. I think they were on a roll, and then they got punched in the face when the 49ers came to town, and there was no answers from Sirianni.
Well, we heard that quote a few times too.
Yeah, he got
punched in the face.
Yeah, he got punched in the face, and now he doesn't have any adjustments. It's like, oh well, this was working, like you said, Lauren. Maybe lucky, that you everything was working so far this year. We kept doing this, and we ended up winning. We should have won 3 or 4 of those games, but we won them.
All right, so I'll be the big father here, and I'll ask you guys to stay positive and think about winning the next 2 games. So you win out, right? You're going to finish the season at what, 13 and
4.
13-4. And you're going to get home field in the first round of the playoffs, which is yet to be determined. You don't know who you're going to play. I mean, do you feel good about that?
The first round, yes.
I would shaking her head no.
I don't feel good about this team going out there right now.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they need to do some serious soul searching over these next couple weeks and air their grievances. So hopefully on December 23rd, they aired them all and got everything out of their system.
Well,
I continue to go back to it. There is something going on. Somebody is causing an issue. Something is happening. They're not clicking on all cylinders, and it's showing. And I will tell you why it's showing. Jason Kelsey, prior to that 3-game losing streak, had 1 penalty, maybe the whole season. And now he's got 6 a game. A veteran guy like that who never lets anything bother him. And now all of a sudden he's got false starts left and right. He's hiking the ball to a guy that's not even back there. He's missing Jalen Hurts. I mean, something is happening to this team that is rattling every single one of them. And I think this is where you see Nick Sirianni not knowing how to bring it all back together because he is young and he is inexperienced in this, where a veteran coach would, sort of snap all that shit together. But, we love Nick Sirianni when he's crazy and, high-fiving the fans and wearing Philadelphia gear and all that stuff. But the minute the team starts losing, he's crazy.
Well,
he's a wacky coach. He's not really great. He doesn't know how to do things. He's not, a normal coach. Well, that's why you liked him in the first place. Mm-hmm. So you like him when he does good, and then you hate him when he does bad.
Sounds about right.
So that part is just odd to me. But I will finish by saying something is happening. And when it finally comes to light, I can't wait to find out what it is, but something is going on with that team.
Well, listen, maybe they sit in the locker room and whatever it is, whoever's got an issue with each other, they either hug it out or agree to get through the season and be on the same page. But you can see with the talent that they have, they could definitely win a Super Bowl with the talent they have. It's just because these games have not looked pretty I mean, it's going to be difficult, but you could go pretty deep. I mean, they have the talent to do it. It's just got to click. And they got a couple weeks.
I mean, I hear what everybody's saying, and we've all seen, what has happened the last few weeks. I mean, it's pretty uncommon for your defensive coordinator to get unseated in his job, at the height of the season, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on, right, wrong, or indifferent. There's a lot going on.
Well, I will say this: they're also not the only team that looks like that. Not that that matters, but the Chiefs look rough. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are supposed to be that good.
The Chiefs look terrible. The Broncos look terrible. I mean, there's so many teams that just seem to be off this year. So,
well, I mean, look at the Cowboys, the team that we joke about the most. I mean, look at this. I mean, that's probably the most dysfunctional group.
Well,
yeah, but I'm okay with that.
But that's why
I want them to be dysfunctional, as dysfunctional as humanly possible.
Well,
so
that's why it feels like
fine.
That's why it feels like they have a chance, because there's no one else that's lighting it up where you're like, they couldn't beat them on a certain
like
day.
I said 5 minutes ago, to reel it all back in, right? We got 2 games, one at home, one on the road. We need to figure it out, right? We need to get that high-powered, that high-octane offense going. We got to get A.J. Brown happy again. We just need to figure it out and put 2 solid wins together and get into a nice rhythm to roll into the playoffs and make some noise.
But are you actually getting into a rhythm when you're playing against inferior teams?
I don't really care at this point, because you played your schedule.
Oh, no,
right?
I understand that.
You played your schedule. Your schedule is what it is. Everybody has the same schedule, right? So you're playing it out. It just so happens that you got the weaker last 3 games of the season. Whose fault's that? The team didn't make the schedule.
Oh, no,
right?
I understand that. No, but my point was just if you're playing well.
But you want to get into a good rhythm. You know what I mean? You want to get everybody fired up to go into a playoff game, whether it's the Cowboys at home, the Lions at home, whomever. You want to get in. You want to have that good feel approach.
Oh, no, I understand. But I mean, as you were saying, and I was, listening to everybody else making their comments, I'm a little bit worried if the Bucs come to town for that first round, I could see Mike Evans, going crazy with Baker Mayfield, ripping us apart with that defense. It could be a lot different situation.
Well, maybe we're getting a Vontae Maddox back. You know what I mean? Maybe we're getting a little bit healthier, at the linebacker position.
Yeah, Cunningham's supposed to be back as well,
Shaq Leonard,
he played well last week.
He played real well, in his second game. So maybe, like I said, maybe it starts to, and by no means am I discounting anything anywhere with management, coaching, players, dysfunctional, locker room. I'm sure that goes on throughout all of sports. Not everybody's going to get along, right?
Oh, right.
Everybody's going to bring a lot of hate on their coach when they're not getting the football.
Well, that, and plus it's part of the Sirianni thing where he's their buddy. He wants to be their buddy, and now it's a tough time where he has to, do something about it.
Well, I don't know if it's. Does he know what to do?
Well, that too.
Does he know what to do? He's a young pup himself.
Right.
Does he know how to handle a bad situation?
Yeah. No, you're right. And that's where it kind of seems like he's losing the locker room, because it doesn't seem like they have the faith in him that he's able to do that.
And they may not. Lauren, what do you got?
No, the only thing I was going to say was these 2 games coming up here. When the beginning of a college football schedule, they play like 2-3 games, like schools like Penn State will play like Rhode Island State or something and just completely just obliterate them. That's what these next 2 games need to be for the Eagles. If they're really inferior teams, this is the time to really sort of build that confidence, get back on track, and get this team to where it was initially when the season started, when we ended last season. So really taking these next 2 games and not downplaying their opponents whatsoever, but using these as those same confidence boosters that the big schools use in college when they start out their season to get things clicking again. Unfortunately, we have to even consider this, but I'm excited for these 2 next games because if they were actually against like real football teams, I'm not sure how that would go.
And hopefully it's not like Penn State would go because you beat up on the Villanovas and then you play Ohio State and Michigan and lose.
Oh, see, you got to bring that up. I knew where you were going.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was kind of my comment. As far as are you getting on a roll?
You just can't friggin' be happy with the Peach Bowl, can you?
Well, I mean, I don't like peaches. I don't like peaches too much. I'd rather have like a plum or something. I don't know.
One bowl.
I mean, but yeah, it's just it's just one of those things. This year, and it's sad that this year has gotten away. And especially for a guy like Jason Kelsey, who keeps coming back.
Maybe it hasn't. Maybe this is just a bump in the road. You know what I mean? And like Lauren said, we need to put our heads in the mud. You know what I mean? And just blow out these Cardinals and these Giants these last 2 games. Because I really honestly thought we were heading there last week, except for those couple of turnovers, which allotted to 2 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, but we can say that too. But if Tyrod Taylor could make a pass and you got Darren Waller still running.
But he can't. We saw the way he threw the ball.
I understand what I'm saying. But you're saying –
he came in the league with Peyton Manning, for Christ's sake.
I'm just saying you can't have it both ways. You can't say if we didn't have these fumbles, and then but if Tyrod Taylor would have hit Darren Waller, he's still running. Nobody's touching him forever. And same thing with Saquon Barkley.
All right, so they had 2 good plays.
Well, I'm just saying
they made it a game, so they had more than 2 good plays.
But that's what I'm saying. When you go against better teams, those quarterbacks aren't going to miss those passes.
Yeah, we seem to raise the bar though. At some of these better teams, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think these veterans. I don't think Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey. These guys. I'll even throw DeAndre Swift, who's been in the league a few years now. I just don't think they're gonna just hang their heads and let these teams walk all over us.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't have thought that either going into this 3-game stretch and it happened.
But John, correct me, call me out. Didn't we expect this all season?
No.
Yeah, we did.
When did you expect a 3-game losing streak? Full of which you got demolished in.
We expected these games to be the toughest part of the season.
No, and that part, yes, I agree with that. My when I said I didn't expect it is I didn't expect to be blown out by 20 points or more. Mm-hmm. I didn't think any team could do that to the Eagles this year. And they allowed that to happen back-to-back weeks.
You knew they weren't going to go undefeated.
Right, of course.
But you didn't think that the 3 losses they had in a row like that were going to be so monumental the way that they were. That's the difference.
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah, I mean, you could have lost by 27-24 to the 49ers. Back down and down. You're going back to Dallas. The same thing. You lose 33-30, whatever. You can accept that. But when you weren't even in those ball games at that point, and then you go to Seattle and you're up, and then you let a backup in Drew Lock, go 10 plays in a minute 24 to win the game against you. That's you just can't have that kind of stuff, and it's and then you were holding your breath that Tyrod Taylor didn't throw a 40-yard pass into the end zone, and they beat you last week. On Christmas Eve, they really on Christmas that they really ruined Christmas. It's like you're not expecting that kind of stuff to happen. To the Eagles. Losing it's going to happen. You're going to lose some games. The same thing. That's why the Jets, when they lost to the Jets, you had 4 turnovers, and all right, you expect you're not going to win too many games like that. But you weren't even in those games against the Cowboys and the 49ers the last two times. And, it just,
Mm-hmm.
and that's who you're going to be playing in the playoffs, and that's, let alone the Lions. Cause just us, we need the Lions to lose one of these games or else we don't have the number 2 seed, cause they're going to have a better head to head, opponents record. And they'll move into the 2 seed, and we're going to have to go to Detroit, where Detroit's a tougher team to play in Detroit versus being home. Yeah,
I knew an hour wasn't going to get it done, Joe Stinger. I made that call 8:00 this morning on the wrong page, by the way.
Well, listen, it's a normal amount of Eagles talk. We give you an extra amount of Flyers talk, so now it's all.
Yep.
Oh man.
It's at 8 minutes left. I said, "There's no way we're getting 8 minutes."
This love affair is long over. Long over.
Yeah, but
wow,
I mean,
you know how to ruin a good night.
This will be a good test for Sirianni to see what his coaching abilities are if he could turn this season around. Let's put it that way.
All right. Well, 1:00 Sunday, batting it down.
Yep. Yeah.
Batting it down. Closing comments. I think we got a little. We've already used up all our timeouts and 2-minute warnings.
Yeah. Well, it's fun when you have a lot of things good to talk about, and sometimes not so good. But it's like family, right? You got to get it out. You got to get out the good stuff or the bad stuff sometimes, and make it things better. So.
All right.
Most of my family are Cowboys fans, so.
Why would you say that?
Because they are.
Because they are.
You just skip over it.
He's
Yeah,
not lying.
Don't have any grievances there. Most of them are Cowboys fans, so I don't.
He's not lying there.
Yeah, but I mean, as you can see, the Cowboys they're not going to go anywhere either. Not to dwell on that part of it, but
yeah, but one of these years they are, and it's going to suck so bad.
Yeah, the Cowboys can't win it. They can't win it on the road. So,
they're they've already thrown their challenge flag because they're already talking about bailing on Dak Prescott. So,
right.
What's that tell
listen, they're never going to win with the owner so involved. An owner that's not involved is never good.
And that's part of the Eagles' problem too, as we talked about earlier.
All right, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls.
Yeah.
As we conclude our last show for 2023, it's been an awesome year. It's been a great year. Yep. We've had a lot of good times. We've had a lot of great shows on the road. We've just had a great year. I don't know. I can't find the right words. To all of our sponsors, City Distilling being our show sponsor, Buffalo Wild Wings, Hanrahan's Irish Pub,
Carl's Cards.
Yeah, good old Carl's Cards. Hey, real quick note for Saturday. Instead of having Gary Dornhofer and Don Selesky, Gary bailed on us today. He is ill, and it sounds like he may have COVID. So we don't want him around, and he doesn't want to be around. So we're going to go solo with Don Selesky, and we'll figure out bringing Gary in a couple of weeks to start out January. So just so everybody hears it. And have you put out a post yet, Lauren, or is that going out tonight or tomorrow?
Yeah, it'll go out tonight.
Tonight, okay. But anyway, we've had a great run. A.J. Brown, DeAndre Swift, Hassan Reddick. They were all great while they came to the store. So for them alone, we got to hope for good, positive things.
Yeah. Well, we're all hoping that they're going to win.
With our Eagles, and something positive to talk about next Wednesday and the following Wednesday and the following Wednesday. So hopefully they get their act together and get this mess cleaned up. So
We want 6 more weeks at least to be talking Eagles football.
There you go. That's the positivity I'm talking about.
Exactly. That's
Lauren, Anthony, anything else you want to air your grievances on anybody or anything?
No,
Nope.
I'm good.
Yep. Good to
All
go.
good.
Mhm.
Happy
Well,
New Year's,
you
everybody.
you guys are on vacation this week, but I hardly think it's a vacation.
That would be correct. It is hardly a vacation.
Well, hang in there and make sure you get enough rest and drink your milk and eat your vitamins.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
There you go.
Johnny, be well. I'll see you on Friday.
Yep.
Guys, everybody that joined the show tonight, thank you.
Thank you.
Extraordinaire guy, Joe Stinger. He's with us there I feel like he's there every minute of every show. So, Joe, thank you. Have a great Happy New Year, everybody, and we will see you next Wednesday.
Yes. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Thank you.